Okay, let's do some IK blending. Each arm system and leg system is composed up of 3 subsystems. So there's actually a forward IK arm, an inverse kinematic arm, and a blended arm that blends between those 2 systems. This value here will blend that arm system between the 2. So when we're at value 0, we are in forward IK mode for the arms. As you see here, I can manipulate each rotational parameter. And when we are in blend mode of 100, we're actually going to be controlling the arm from a target. With wrist at value 0, you're actually going to be controlling the wrist from this parameter here. So you may choose to have an IK target but still have the wrist animated manually from the end of the arm. Or you can actually turn this value up here, and now when I rotate that IK target, I'm going to be rotating the arm manually like this. So now the hand will be locked to whatever the target is. This is a multiple IK target system. So when you pull this menu down here, you're going to see a whole bunch of different targets. So how do you select the different targets? Each of these targets is set up in a blended system. So there's actually a position and rotation constraint that is controlling all these things here. So there's a weight that is right here for that target. So right now, the world is in control. The world target is in control, and that's just the name of this point object here. I could also do another target here, and all I have to do in order to put this in control is hit the key button. The key button will then take this new target and give it a weight of 100, and if I go to world, we'll see that that weight is now 0. So automatically, when you hit the key button, all the weights will be set for you automatically. And then you can, whatever object that you have as the main target, or as the target in control, hitting the select button will select it. It'll also show you the parameters for position and rotation, so you can control those with the spinners as well here. So I can put the spot 1 in control by hitting the key button, and I can then select, and then I can control that here. So let's explain the different targets. World is a target that's going to be, which I always leave free floating in the world. It's not linked to anything. These spot ones down here are going to be targets that you perhaps may want to use as targets that are linked to other objects. There are also a series of targets here called prop, head, hip, and knee. The prop target, and we can set these both for this object here. We'll key that up, and here there's a button here that says Prop Master. When you hit that, you're selecting an object called the Prop Master. The Prop Master is linked to the hips and can be used, let's say if your character is carrying a broom or a gun or a hockey stick or something like that, that is linked to the hips. So now we have an object that's there. You can just link your prop to it, and then you can control these 2 IK systems like this. And then there's the head system here. So we can have if we key that up, we're going to see the character, he's going to put his hands on his head. And here we have the swivel for the IK system for each of the arms. So now when our character moves his head around, we can see that his hands are linked to his head like this very quickly. Same goes for the knee or the hip. So I select the hip, hit key, that puts that one in control, and now when we grab the hips and move those around, we'll see that his hands are on his hips. And we also have knees. So you can put his hands on his knees. And of course he'll have to bend down enough to have that actually work, but you can see that he can have his hand. There we go. Now his hands are on his knee, and you can move the just like that. So that's very quick. So just really quickly over again. In order to set an IK target, choose the target that you want, hit key, turn on the blend, and set it for the wrist, hit the select button, and now that object is selected in the viewport, and now you're controlling the target. You can also do something called snap IK, and so if I have a forward IK position that I actually want to turn into an IK position, just go ahead and put that, set up your forward IK position, and when this blend value is set to 0, it has to be set to 0 in order for it to work, hit the snap IK button. You'll see that now that object has snapped to the position, and now when I blend, we'll see no change, but we are actually in control in IK, just like that. Okay, now the legs are similar, but there's something a little different about the legs. The forward IK, the forward system, forward kinematic system, is actually another IK system, but it acts like a forward system. So normally we're in control from foot any R or foot any L, depending on the side, where I'm grabbing this object and manipulating it in the viewport like this. And then I could also change it to the forward system by selecting that as the target, hitting key. And now there's a hidden system in here that you can't see, but now I can control that system as if it were a forward IK. So you can do nice, smooth arcing of the leg, just as if it were controlled like the upper arm. And then there's also a knee bend. Now, since the forward system is actually an IK system, the target for that is actually at the heel, or at the ankle tip. So if you have something in here that the foot is doing something, it's actually going to change the leg a little bit as well. So just be aware that that's going to happen. And you also have control of what the ankle is doing here too. You also have different IK targets here for the leg system as well, so you can key this up and select that, and you have a separate IK target in case you want to take this one and link it to another object, and then you can blend quickly from your normal IK system to that other IK system just by hitting the key. Now all these are, of course, animatable. So here I'm going to move the time slider up a little bit, and then I'm going to key it to the forward system, and as you can see, I'm blending from one system to the next. Now normally you'd want to use your forward system for if your character is in midair or hanging from something and you don't want to be moving those IK targets around for the foot to try and create nice arcs. You can use it for this system like here. Now the hips also have a similar reparenting system. I call it animated parenting. And I'll turn this on. I'll hit the use button. Now the use button is there because in Max 7, turning this on will slow the rig down an incredible amount in the initial interactivity in Max 7. The initial interactivity, what I mean by that is when you grab the time slider, it's going to be very slow updating the rig, but once it kind of updates, then you can scrub it back and forth. But with all these IK systems on the skeleton, that was a big problem in Max 7. Max 8, though, has solved those problems, and so you're not going to see that delay in interactivity. But that is a Max problem and not an Automatron problem. So here we have this object here, getting back to the animated parenting. The reason why you'd want to have this system here is I can actually take these hips and just animate them around like this, but I can also choose a different system to be the parent of the whole rig by hitting the key button and then select. And now I'm controlling this guy from a different system. And the reason why you would want to do this is if you have like a motorcycle or a bike or something, you could have this other hip target linked to that object or a group of objects and blend smoothly from one thing to another like that. So you can have this character easily walk over and step up onto a bicycle. And actually, let me show you an example of that in the next movie.